Okay, so we just got some more news regarding Mr. Julian Assange that I wanted to discuss very quickly. It's not good news. Any news that we get regarding this guy nowadays typically isn't good, which is incredibly unfortunate. But Australia, the place where he is a citizen of, has essentially disregarded him and thrown him to the wolves. So this is an article from Jacobin. I'll probably just read the first paragraph and then just talk about it. Australia has sacrificed Julian Assange to the United States. That's the title of the article, and it's quite literal. So the United States has resumed its extradition campaign against Australian journalist Julian Assange with renewed fervor. In January this year, UK District Judge Vanessa Barrister had blocked a U.S. extradition request not on the basis that extradition threatened press freedom, but that in light of conditions in the U.S. prison system, Assange would be at risk of suicide should he be transferred. Not to be deterred, the United States launched its appeal of the ruling on October the 27th, and the decision is due to be announced this month. In all this, the Australian government has been disturbingly quiet. That Assange is an Australian citizen seems to count for nothing when it is the United States that is baying for blood. As early as 2010, former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard was so eager to please what she called our best mates in Washington that she suggested that Assange's passport could be seized. It was pointed out to her that this would be against the law. When asked about Assange's arrest in 2019, current Prime Minister Scott Morrison simply said he should face the music. Evidently, the Australian government has abnegated all responsibility to protect one of its citizens from unlawful extradition. Wow. Wow. So the Australian government, they've relinquished all kind of responsibility from themselves and is essentially going to allow the U.S. to do whatever they want with Mr. Assange. What a precedent this sets going forward. So recently, and I didn't make a video about this or talk about this, but there was a report that was published by Yahoo. It was a bombshell report of the CIA. It was a very detailed report of the CIA essentially plotting to kill Assange. And it was these insane, like just archaic and draconian ways of kidnapping him, like, shooting the tires off of a plane. I mean, it was like a comic book movie type of fantasy kind of deal. And it involved Mr. Mike Pompeo. And, they also talked about the WikiLeaks that characterized it as a non-state hostile intelligence service, which basically gave them the leeway to go after it as if it was some sort of, foreign enemy or something like that. They use these weird words to be able to do and act the way that they want, right? Which is entirely illegal and unjust. But we got that some time ago, and things just seem to be getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, Julian Assange, in my eyes, and in many people's eyes, is a hero. He exposed the crimes of the U.S. government in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Guantanamo Bay prison camp. He showed the capabilities of the U.S. intelligence to hack into consumer goods for espionage purposes. I mean, the guy has done his fair share, I would say, of heroic deeds. Without him and the people that, help him and work with him and WikiLeaks in general, we wouldn't know about these things. I mean, WikiLeaks showed us remember the corruption that was going on in the campaign of Hillary and Bernie, and how they were prodding for Hillary to win and try to figure out how to defeat Bernie and stuff him. Look, man, let me just put something into perspective for you. So this is a guy that isn't a U.S. citizen. He's an Australian citizen. He's exposed to crimes of a foreign government, that being the U.S., many crimes, I might add, and he's being prosecuted by the U.S. And its allies, including Australia. Once again, he's an Australian citizen, and they're allowing for this to happen. I want to propose to you the following situation. If a journalist from Russia, you know what? No, not from Russia. If a journalist from, Australia, exposed the crimes of China, the U.S. has been very hostile to China for some time now, and China got a hold of this guy and tried to prosecute him and throw the book at him and kill him like the U.S. is doing to Julian Assange. what would the U.S. be doing right now? Would they be going along with China saying, yeah, you got to get that guy, he exposed too much? No. They would be heralding him as a hero. He'd be amazing. These politicians would be calling for his release immediately. That's exactly what would be going on. And the same with Russia. If somebody exposed the war crimes or whatever, the human rights violations of what Mr. Vladimir Putin is doing over there, it'd be the same thing. They'd be calling him a hero. He'd be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they'd call for his immediate release. But in the case of Julian Assange, in the case of American war crimes and atrocities being exposed, that doesn't apply. And once again, Australia being weak and absolutely terrible and having no backbone, and their relationship with the United States is more important than freedom of the press, more important than torture. We know Julian's been tortured. More important than his protection against cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, the precedent that this sets forward is a really grim one.